What's up, y'all? So we often hear people talk about, especially in recent times, inflation, they can't afford houses, everything's expensive, healthcare is expensive, housing is expensive, tuition is expensive. Inflation's like everywhere, right? The car market is getting expensive. And today I'm gonna react to a video that somebody sent me that's on TikTok, right? Where he was talking about the housing market and how everything's so expensive. And when I get back, I'm gonna tell y'all exactly why inflation's at an all-time high. All right, but before I get into that and get into some recommendations on how to beat inflation, let's take a look at the video real quick.
This housing market is so discouraging. Let me paint a picture for you. I just got engaged, and me and my fiance are now looking for houses because we're engaged. We have a very high income. For our age, we are earning in like the 95th percentile. We always look forward to something like this. We'd have everybody come over for the holidays. We get the fenced-in backyard. We talk about getting a pool one day. We get the Tesla charger in there. It was going to be amazing. But then this happened. $507,000? And you might be thinking to yourself, well, this is a great price, but no. In a suburb in upstate New York, this should not cost $500,000. There are so many problems happening in the real estate market. I'm going to start with two of them. For one thing, this home listed at $389,000. What I think it's actually worth, and it sold for $507,000. When in 2017, this same home sold for $279,000. which makes it worth $389,000 7 years later. And even then, that's on the high end. So in 2017, with a standard 20% down payment and a 5.5% interest rate, your payment would have been $1,600. Today, at $500,000, with a 20% down payment and a 7% interest rate, which is low, I estimated low, your payment is $3,300. So the people in 2017 who bought this house could no longer afford to buy their house today. So I have no idea what me and my fiance are gonna do.
All right. So here are my thoughts on why inflation took over. So it all started with COVID, right? Especially in the real estate market, in the housing market. It all started with COVID. So as you know, when COVID came around, the world had to shut down. Everything, all the industries, everything shut down, right? Now, when that happened, we know that a lot of people are just staying home. So as a result of that, the lumber industry, which was, going on, they had to take a pause. And when they took a pause, what happened was, the materials, the supply they had was a little short. You know what I'm saying? Houses were not being built at the same rate because the materials to build these houses were in shortage. Now, what we do know is that anytime there's a high demand, and at the same time, the federal interest rate was at an all-time low, which means that a lot of people were looking to buy houses around that time. Me, myself, being one of them, because I think the interest rate was about like 2.5. I got my house at about 3%. So yeah, the interest rates were pretty low, which is going to attract a lot of buyers. But on the flip side, with the interest rate being so low, the demand is going to be high. However, it was during COVID. And because the demand was high, but COVID happened, so, we didn't have a lot of materials and supplies to build houses. So what we know is that if demand is high and supply is low, what's that going to do? That's going to make the price go up, right? And that's exactly what happened. So due to the high demand of houses because of the low interest rate by the feds, and then after that, we had the materials and everything being short. The builders decided, hey, you know what? We got to put prices up now. It's the only way. Because the builders, they're facing a pretty high price just to build houses. Lumber is more expensive. Everything's more expensive. Just because, there's a shortage in material. COVID, factories shut down. The material is not in abundance anymore, especially for the lumber industry. So that price got pushed onto the builders, and the builders then pushed on that price to the consumer. Y'all follow me so far? So that's exactly what happened. And give me a second here. And that's exactly why the real estate market or the housing market had a big spike, as we call it, inflation, where we had a big spike in price. All right. Now, with that being said, let's get over to the American dream part. The American dream, a lot of people like to complain and say, oh, it's out of reach. You know, it's this, it's that. But I got a different approach, man. I think about it a little bit differently. You see, the American dream is for go-getters. It's not for people who sit around and complain. You know what I'm saying? It's for people who can actually adapt. If you can't adapt to your situation or the current state of the world, you're gonna get screwed. You're not gonna get a slice of the pie. You're definitely not gonna get a piece of the American dream. You're gonna be stuck complaining and bitching while everybody else is enjoying a piece of the pie. So I say all this to say this. The American dream is still in reach for a lot of people. I know it looks tough. I know there's inflation all around. I get it. But we got to learn to adapt. And when I say adapt, I mean prices are going up. Everything's going up. So what we got to do? We got to find a way to make more money. That's all it is. We just got to find a way to make more money. Now, a lot of y'all gonna complain and say, yeah, but they're not raising my salary. You know, I'm still working the same job. I get it. I get it. Everything's going up, but your salary's not going up, right? But what can you do? Get some overtime in. Pick up a second job if you can find the time. You get what I'm saying? I don't care what it is that you do. We gotta find a way to make more income, because obviously the prices aren't going down. The American dream was never for bums. If you study history, if you look at history, all the people that, even my grandparents, like, or my family members, everybody that had a piece of the American dream, I don't know anybody that worked 40 hours a week. A lot of people just want to work 40 hours a week and think that they're just going to get a slice of the American dream. It doesn't work like that. You got to put in overtime. You got to, work a second job. A lot of y'all parents had like 2 jobs just to get a house. It's always been like that. It's not new. The problem is we're in now a generation that's just, a lot of people are lazy. A lot of people just want to work 40 hours a week. They don't want to grind. They don't want to hustle, even if it's for a short time. Sometimes, man, when you have a goal in mind, you just got to grind it out. You got to forget about work-life balance. You just got to grind until you get to your goal. You get what I'm saying? So that's how I look at it. So when people are going to complain and say inflation, yes, inflation is a real thing. But at the same time, we got to be able to adapt to the situation, because that's the only way we're gonna survive as human beings. If you can't adapt to your situation, you'll never survive. You get what I'm saying? So that's all I got to say to y'all. That's all I got to say about that situation. All right, let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. Appreciate it.